Fintechs are causing huge disruption in financial services and banks cannot afford to ignore them. Good partnerships are the way ahead, says SAP's Global Head of Banking, Falk Rieker, in this next chapter. We finish by reviewing the essential ingredients for banking successfully in a digital world. So Falk, the financial services industry is being disrupted, it's being impacted by fintechs. What should banks be doing about that?
No, it's interesting to see how banks deal with fintechs at this point in time. Some are actually competing with fintechs, some are even ignoring them. We actually believe the best way to deal with fintechs is to partner with them. And let me tell you why. Banks on the one side need faster go-to-market. They need to speed up their time to innovation. They need to provide a better customer experience. On the other side, you have the fintechs. And the fintechs are very agile companies. They largely focus on customer-centric processes, yet they lack the customer base the banks have. So both sides want something from each other. Now the key is how to get these cultures together, and make it
That's right, because obviously banks are traditional, they're slow-moving. Fintechs are sort of agile and very sort of modern, and you can see a big clash of cultures here, can't you?
Yeah, if you want, the fintechs stand for everything, the banks are not.
Exactly.
But I think therein lies a chance as well, because there is no doubt that banks have to start innovating faster. And if they can't do it themselves, they need to make up their mind if they can partner with someone. Acquisition investments in these fintechs is another possibility. But it all starts with getting to know each other and finding a way how you intelligently cooperate and collaborate with these fintechs.
Okay. Now there's an awful lot of fintechs out there, isn't there? So how do you know you're picking the right one to partner with?
Very good question. I think the first thing is you need to know what you want to do. That means which are the areas you're really looking for, fintechs to complement your own development force and your own product offering. That could be the lending space, that could be the payment space, that could be around securities, trading, treasury, trade finance. So depending on your priorities, you pick a field and then you have to do the research. And one thing is obviously what are the kind of innovations these fintechs bring to the table. The other thing is obviously their location. The fintechs in its nature are very locally driven. There are only a few which really have a global scale at this point in time, and you need to take that into account.
All right. And what sort of stage of fintech development should you get involved in? Should you get involved, at the start of the idea or when the product's been developed? Because you don't want to get in too early, but on the other hand, if you get in too late, you're going to miss the boat, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that is everyone's taste, so choice. At what point in time it makes most sense. There might be areas where you really want to be the front runner because you want to be leading edge. And let's take the whole blockchain discussions around payments, for example. There are a lot of banks that have invested in Ripple, which is a Google-based fintech. So they decided, obviously, there is something, and we want to be early in the game. And then there are obviously other areas which they don't consider as strategic, and they are more on a, let's wait and see, and then at a later point in time, jump on the train.
Okay. Well, it's very much a digital world now, isn't it? So, and banks face lots of challenges out there related to that. How do you see banks surviving in this world full of new challenges for them?
I think that's the most important question. Banks have to think about. And from my perspective, there are three key success factors they need to keep in mind. First of all, keep up the digital transformation initiatives. It's absolutely crucial that the banks execute on that. And digital transformation is more than just a channel or front office activities. You have to take an enterprise view and look from the front end to the impact on the back office as well. With that saying, you need to avoid silos of innovation. I see a lot of banks really doing a lot of innovation, but it's less coordinated, not aligned across the enterprise, and therefore, to a certain extent, counterproductive. It actually increases the complexity they have in place today, rather than solving some of the issues. I think that's where the role of the Chief Digital Officer, which a lot of banks are now introducing, plays a vital role to define the strategy, to set the priorities, and to align the strategic initiatives. So keep up digital transformation, I think, is number one. Number two is around talent. I think banks always had a strong desire to hire the best, especially on the business side and the sales side. Yeah?
But the best is different now. Yeah.
The best is different. In the digital world, you need to have technical experts that enable your digital strategy. So very simply saying, if you don't have the right talent, you cannot execute successfully your digital strategy. And this third item, I think banks have to think beyond banking. So a major characteristic of digital transformation is that you're not necessarily doing exactly what you did in the past. Take the automotive companies that now have to deal with the electric car, which is a different core competence they need to build up. But if they want to be in the business in the future, they need to build up fintech, technology expertise, because for the electric car, the technology is more or less the most important decision criteria. So now translate that to banks. What means beyond banking? It can mean multiple things. It can mean you extend your value chain to non-financial services related matters, so that you provide a one-stop shop and bring in other companies in your supply chain that provide these services. Bank doesn't need to do everything themselves. It could be an e-commerce platform where you enable business between your corporate customers and your retail banking customers. Or it can be as simple as extensive personal finance management and analytics for retail banking customers. So there are a lot of ideas, I think, the banks can learn from other industries, which they need to be adopted to be successful.
So they just need to be very open-minded, it seems.
Exactly. So the world in the future is a different one. And the good news is, if you look a bit left and right to other industries, you actually can steal a lot of ideas.
Thanks very much, Falk.
Thank you.